The villagers called it many names: Ohia Ojuju, the forest of fear, or the forest of the damned. No matter the language, the warning was the same: do not enter. The forest lay on the edge of Umakis, a sprawling village in southeastern Nigeria. To the untrained eye, it looked like any other dense thicket: tall iroko trees casting white shadows, tangled vines twisting like serpents, and a floor thick with fallen leaves. But to the villagers, it was a place of whispers, where even the bravest hunters refused to tread. Children were told stories at night, of spirits with hollow eyes who lurked between the trees, of voices calling loved ones deeper into the forest only to vanish, of fires burning without flame. The forest, they said, was cursed. Once, long ago, it had been a place of sacrifice. Slaves, outcasts, and condemned warriors were left there to die. Their restless souls, bound by suffering, never found peace. For generations, the people of Umakis kept their distance. But one year, during a season of drought, desperation pushed them to the edge of the cursed woods. The rains had failed. The yam barns were empty, the rivers had shrunk to muddy trickles, and the air was thick with dust. Even the palm trees drooped, their fronds brittle and dry. Hunger gnawed at every belly. Okonkwo, the village head, gathered the elders beneath the ancient orji tree. His face was lined with worry. "Our people are starving," he said, his deep voice cracking. "The land gives nothing. The gods have turned their backs. What shall we do?" Murmurs rippled through the gathering. Some suggested sending emissaries to neighboring villages for trade. Others whispered of raiding weaker clans for food. But the oldest elder, Mama Oduak, lifted her gnarled hand. Her cloudy eyes scanned the circle. "There is one place where the land is not dry," she rasped. "The forest of the damned." A chill spread through the gathering. Heads shook violently. "No," one man muttered. "We cannot go there," another said. "Better to starve than to anger the spirits." But Mama Oduak leaned forward, her thin frame trembling. "Desperation is a fire, my children. It burns even fear to ashes. If we do not risk it, we will die. The forest may be cursed, but perhaps it also holds salvation." Okonkwo's jaw tightened. He looked at his people, thin and weak, their faces hollow from hunger. Then he nodded. "We shall send a small group. They will enter the forest and bring back what they see." The chosen ones were four: Chaik, the strongest hunter; Adiz, a young woman with sharp eyes and a brave heart; Ikmini, a palm wine tapper known for his quick wit; and Obina, the village healer's apprentice. When the names were announced, silence fell across the square. Families wept, for they believed they were sending their loved ones to death. Chaik stood tall, his broad shoulders squared. "If my people need me, I will go," he said. Adiz's lips trembled, but she raised her chin. "If the forest holds food, I will find it." Ikmini cracked a nervous grin. "Better to die searching than to die starving." Obina, though pale with fear, clutched his medicine pouch. "If we face spirits, I will protect us." At dawn the next day, they stood at the forest edge, armed with machetes, charms, and courage thinner than smoke. The villagers watched in silence as the four stepped into the shadows of the damned. The forest was alive. The air inside was thick and damp, smelling of rot and moss. Strange cries echoed through the canopy, half bird, half human. Sunlight barely pierced the leaves, and the deeper they went, the darker it grew. At first, they found signs of abundance. Wild yams with fat roots, clusters of ripe fruit, even streams of clear water. Relief spread among them. "Perhaps the stories were just tales," Adiz whispered, plucking mangoes. But Obina frowned. "No. The air is heavy. The forest watches us." As they gathered food, the forest seemed to shift. The path behind them twisted, unfamiliar. Roots tangled like hands, grabbing at their ankles. Whispers floated between the trees, low, mournful voices that carried no wind. By nightfall, they made camp near a stream. Ikmini tried to lift their spirits with jokes. But the laughter died quickly when they heard footsteps circling their camp. No animal revealed itself, only shadows shifting at the edges of sight. "Do not answer the whispers," Obinna warned as they huddled by the fire. "They call in the voices of those you love. If you answer, you will be lost." That night, Addis heard her mother's voice calling her name from the darkness. Tears stung her eyes, but she pressed her hands over her ears until dawn broke. On the second day, they ventured deeper. The forest gift grew stranger. They found a tree with gourds filled not with water, but with palm wine sweeter than any they had tasted. A bush bore berries that glowed faintly in the dark. But with each gift came a price. Chike drank deeply from the enchanted palm wine, his thirst unquenchable. By nightfall, he was feverish, his body trembling. His skin grew cold, and his eyes rolled back as if seeing something beyond. "Spirits claim him," Obinna said, trying desperately with herbs and chants. But by dawn, Chike was gone. His body remained, but his spirit had fled. His eyes stayed open, staring into nothing. Addis wept. Ikmini cursed. But they could not turn back. Hunger and fear drove them forward. Had they, the forest whispered in Obinna's ear, offering knowledge. He saw visions of herbs he had never known, medicines that could cure any disease. Tempted, he reached for a flower glowing blue in the undergrowth. The moment he plucked it, his hand withered, black veins crawling up his arm. He screamed, and though he lived, his right hand was ruined. "The forest gives," he said through clenched teeth, "but it always takes more." On the third day, only Addis and Ikmini still walked with strength. Obinna stumbled behind, his ruined hand cradled against his chest. They came upon a clearing unlike any other. At its center stood an enormous tree, its trunk wide as a house, its branches stretching like arms to the heavens. The air around it pulsed, heavy with unseen power. Faces seemed to press against the bark, tormented, screaming faces. "The heart of the forest," Obinna whispered, falling to his knees. The ground trembled. The faces on the tree opened their mouths, and the clearing filled with voices. They spoke in unison, a chorus of pain. "Children of flesh, you dare to enter. You take what is ours, and you do not pay." Addis trembled, clutching her machete. "What do you want?" she shouted. The voices hissed. "Life. Always life. For every gift, a price. For every root, a soul. You have taken, now you must remain." Roots shot from the ground, snaring Obinna's legs. He screamed as they pulled him toward the tree. Addis and Ikmini tried to cut him free, but the roots tightened like iron. With one last cry, Obinna was swallowed into the bark, his face merging with the others. Roots shot from the ground, snaring Obinna. Ikmini dropped his blade, terror in his eyes. "We must run." But Addis shook her head. "No. Running will only delay it. We must face it." Addis stepped forward, her body shaking but her voice steady. "Forest. You feed on suffering, on fear. But hear me, I will make a bargain." The forest stilled. The whispers hushed. "If you let my people live," Addis said, raising her chin, "if you allow us food and water in times of need, then take me. Bind me here. I will be your voice, your vessel." Ikemini's eyes widened in horror. "No, Addis." The great tree groaned. The voices laughed, cruel and eager. "A vessel, yes. One to walk between the living and the damned. We accept." Roots coiled around Addis, lifting her into the air. She cried out once, then her body stilled. Her eyes glowed faintly as the forest whispers filled her. When the roots set her down, she was changed, her face pale, her voice layered with echoes. When Ikmini stumbled back into Yumakis, the villagers wept with relief. They ate the food he carried, and for the first time in months, their bellies were full. But when they asked about the others, his face darkened. "Chike is gone." Obina is taken. And Addis, his voice broke. Addis has become the forest. From that day, the people of Umakis never starved again. Whenever famine threatened, they brought offerings to the forest edge, and in return, food was found. But none dared enter again. Sometimes, when the wind carried through the trees, villagers swore they heard Addis' voice calling. Not in pain, but in warning. Remember the bargain. Do not take more than you need. And so the forest remained, both curse and blessing, both damning and sustaining. The villagers still called it the forest of the damned. But in their whispered prayers, some called it something else. The forest of Addis.